So we're continuing our class in Vaishnava etiquette, but I thought I'll just make a mention about dancing. Well, we talked a little bit about dancing, didn't we? Something?
Actually, I don't think that was in that thing.
It's not in there. I think I was talking about it.
Yeah, you talked about it last year.
I was talking about it the other day, no? Hari Bol, everyone. I just want to, we're continuing our Vaishnava etiquette class, but I wanted to mention about dancing. Prabhupada really encouraged the devotees to dance. And sometimes he would go like this, like to kind of indicate that we should jump off the ground. Because you could understand that, let's say you're having a kirtan and you're just kind of... It's not a lot of spiritual energy there, and not a lot of ecstasy. Right? So you're using your body, using your energy. And your dancing is part of your glorification of Krishna. And it's a manifestation of your ecstasy. That's how you express it. So, and it kind of gets you out of the bodily concept. And you kind of forget about the material world. More so than if you're not dancing. Not always, but anyway, it's point is Prabhupada liked it, he encouraged it. And we should enthusiastically dance in the kirtan. I have a nice story. This, when I was a Sankirtan leader in Los Angeles. Maybe it was 1978. So we had about 20 men on our party that I was responsible for, maybe more than 20. And these are young brahmacharis. And as we've been talking, sometimes in Krishna consciousness, sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down, right? Sometimes up, sometimes down. So many things come up on my computer. So he was having a bad day, and I always like to have nice kirtans. You have like temple full of a few hundred devotees, and you have like 30, 40, 50 brahmacharis. You can have nice kirtan, and we had a lot of really good mridanga players, like studied in India, and good kartal players. So we had this one Guru Puja, really nice kirtan. It was very ecstatic, everyone was dancing. Ecstatico. So at the end of the kirtan, he came up to me and he said that I was having a really hard time. I think if I remember correctly, he said I was even thinking of leaving. But that one kirtan just wiped out all the Maya. That one kirtan, he said, I'm back in shape. Yes. So that's the power of kirtan. Don't underestimate the power of kirtan. Yes? Hare Krishna. Ashley says I look thin. I think it's a camera. It makes you go like this. They don't feed me enough here. Talk to them. Their problems, their fault. No, only kidding. Okay, so I have to, now I have to find where we left off.
Tiene que encontrar dónde se quedaron ayer.
Oh no. Oh yes, here it is. Okay, this section is called sadhana.
Esta sección se llama sadhana.
And as we mentioned before, they mention it also, that there are 5, most of 64 items, there are 5 most important. Who can tell me what those are, or any one of those 5? Chanting, the holy name, hearing, worshiping the deity,
Remember.
seva, service, no? Sankirtan,
hearing Srimad Bhagavatam,
association,
association, residing in a holy place. They have, this is very interesting, they have residing in a holy place and worshipping Tulsi on the same line. I always had worshipping Tulsi as a deity worship. There's 64 items of devotional service. There are 9 processes of devotional service, hearing, chanting, remembering, and so forth. But of all the 64 items, these are the most important. As I said yesterday, if you want to remember these 5 items, just think of the morning program. You do kirtan, you worship the deity, you associate with devotees, you hear Bhagavatam, and you're in a holy place, because temple is holy. So that's how you remember. So Prabhupada established in our morning program these 5 most important activities. So if you have a morning program, you do them. Yes? So what are the 5? Just start the morning program. Yeah.
Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, associating with devotees.
That we said residing in a holy place. Chanting. Yeah, okay. So that's it. That's all you have to do. Those are the 5 most potent forms of devotional service. And then here they say chanting is the most important. And then they say, I don't know where this comes from. Prepare yourself, Prabhus. I have a disclaimer here. I don't know. I've never seen this. This could be a rumor, that urban legend that filtered down. But it says, Prabhupada says that 99% of our spiritual advancement comes from chanting. Yeah. Association. You don't have association, you won't chant. If you don't chant, you won't make much advancement. It's like that. So in a sense, association is essential. Like you have to get somewhere and you have to do something. And you can't do it unless you go there, and that's going to save your life. But you need to get there. So it's essential, 100% essential, that you have a vehicle to get you there. But it's 100% essential you do that thing to save your life. So it's something like that. But Sachinandan Swami said, Prabhupada said 90%. But I've never seen it or heard it personally. But anyway, we can understand that that the holy name is more important than anything else, and all other activities are contained within chanting. Remembering, hearing, chanting, remembering, worship, prayer, all the 9 processes are contained within chanting. Surrender. Anyway, if you ever give a class and you want to say, Prabhupada said 99%, that's in the, just quote this manual, and then if they're wrong, you're not guilty. The fact they put it in there, they must have some validation for it somewhere, but they don't give it. So then this whole section is talking about japa. So I'll give you my japa mantra, which I think would incorporate everything they're saying. When you chant, chant. That's it. Everybody got it? What does that mean when you chant?
Don't do anything else.
Don't do anything else externally, but more important, don't do it internally. Because you can be sitting quietly and internally very active. Right? So, you remember this, when you chant, chant. Don't think about it, don't do service in your mind. I'll just speak of fault find and okay. This is a whole section, they're doing a big section on japa. So Prabhupada says, our prayer of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, addressing Radha and Krishna, for being engaged in their service, means addressing. Hare Krishna means, O Hare, O Radha Rani, O Krishna, please engage me in your service, so that I can get relieved from the service of Maya. So when you're praying positively for service, you're also praying to be free from Maya, what's holding you back from service. Yes? And another time Prabhupada said, he continued this prayer and he said, for so long I've been engaged in Maya's service. Yes? How many lifetimes in Maya's service? Obediently serving her? So now in this life, let me be engaged in your service. I mean, could you imagine? In one life we were dogs, barking at other dogs. It's hard to imagine, isn't it? Thank you. It's going through a long, this is like a whole japa retreat here. So, but let me show you the pictures of how you shouldn't chant. This is really funny. Can you see them in the mirror? Can they see them in the mirror?
Head on the wall. Standing on the seat.
Yeah, this is it's funny that we have to give some examples. Chanting is interesting. It can put you in transcendence or it can put you in ignorance. You know? Isn't it? It can put you to sleep or it can put you at Krishna's lotus feet. It's a great section here on japa. There's so many nice... But I've spoken about this at length and you can listen to my lectures on it. If you go to krishna.com/Mahatma and then you'll go to japa, there's a lot there. And probably on my Facebook page. So they have a few quotes from Prabhupada, we can read those. So you can make, so you cannot make any distinction between listening to the sound and thinking of the pastime. What does that mean? Because Krishna is in his name. So some people say, well, should I think of the pastimes? So wherever Krishna is, there are pastimes. And Krishna is his name. So Krishna chant Hare Krishna, all the pastimes are there.
Entonces, si cantas Hare Krishna, todos
So the
los
question is,
pasatiempos
should I
están
think of the pastimes? No, but the pastimes are already there. You just don't realize it.
Los pasatiempos están ahí, pero no te das
You
cuenta
see?
de eso.
You don't realize it, but when you're purified,
Cuenta, pero cuando
it's all revealed because you understand Krishna is his name. Wherever Krishna is, all his devotees are.
que Krishna va a estar, todos sus devotos van a estar ahí.
And his qualities. If Krishna is there, his qualities are there. If Krishna is there, his pastimes are there. If Krishna is there, his form is there.
Sus pasatiempos
Right?
están ahí.
Nama, then Rupa, Guna, and Lila. So when you say Krishna and you're on the stage of Bhava
Y están en el estado de Bhava,
or close to it,
o cerca de
then
Bhava.
it's not there's Krishna and then his pastimes and then his form.
Está Krishna y luego
It's all
sus
one,
pasatiempos,
and you realize it.
uno y te das cuenta de eso.
And that's what you see when you chant.
Y es lo que ves cuando cantas.
So Prabhupada explains that.
Entonces, Prabhupada
The process is to hear,
el proceso es escuchar
and then Krishna's pastimes,
y luego
form, qualities, etc., will automatically come to mind. That's in a more advanced state. It'll just happen. So Prabhupada said that it's a little artificial. Could someone run upstairs and get the Prapanamrita, book with Bhaktisiddhanta? And he explains this nicely. This question always comes up. Should I try to think of the pastimes?
Debería de pensar en los pasatiempos.
So Prabhupada said it's a bit artificial
Es un poco artificial
because they'll naturally come to mind in a more advanced stage.
porque van a venir automáticamente a la mente en un estado más avanzado.
So Prabhupada goes on.
Prabhupada continúa.
Generally, it is the process to simply chant and hear.
Es el proceso simplemente escuchar,
But if Krishna Lila comes into our remembrance, that's very good.
pero si un lila de Krishna viene a nuestra mente,
It should come automatically,
debe de venir automáticamente.
not that you are remembering artificially.
No que estés recordando artificialmente.
I like this because we're in a opera workshop and we
Se
talk
le gusta eso porque sale en el taller
to
de
try
yoga
and
y estábamos
picture
siendo enseñados a imaginar.
You can do that to help your meditation,
Sí,
but
puedes
it's,
hacer eso para ayudar a tu
you know, you can try to, if it helps your meditation and your absorption. But the point Prabhupada's making is that when you're in a higher state, it'll come automatically.
Es que Prabhupada está diciendo que en un estado más avanzado va a venir automáticamente.
Okay. As soon as the anarthas are removed
Como los anartas son removidos,
by chanting the holy names,
cantando los santos nombres,
the form, qualities, and pastimes
las formas, cualidades y pasatiempos
will automatically manifest.
se van a manifestar automáticamente.
So it's just the impurity.
Entonces solo es la impureza.
There is no need to artificially try to remember the Lord's form, qualities, and pastimes.
Las formas, las cualidades y
Artificially.
artificialmente.
Like, I'm not thinking Krishna's pastimes and you're trying to, I have to think of a pastime. It's like
Es como
you're married to someone but you don't love them
estás casado con alguien y lo
and you know you should love them
y sabes que
and
tienes que amar.
and you're trying to do things to love them.
Tratando de hacer cosas para amar.
And then you tell yourself, love them, you should love them.
Luego te dices a ti mismo, ámalos.
Love them, love them. Get that love in there,
Tienes que meter ese amor.
But if you perform acts of love, the love will come,
Pero si llevas a cabo actos de amor, el amor va a llegar.
right? So that's what he's saying. Just by your advancement,
Mientras estás avanzando,
then Krishna's name is revealed as Krishna.
el nombre de Krishna se revela.
And if it's revealed as Krishna,
Y si
it comes,
Krishna,
what does Krishna come with?
y viene,
What comes in the package?
¿cómo viene Krishna? Viene en un paquete.
What comes in the package of realization of the name?
Viene en un
The
paquete
form,
de realización del nombre, la
The
forma,
form, the rupa, the lila, the pastimes,
los lilas, los pasatiempos
and the guna, the qualities.
y las cualidades.
Right? Just like when you come
Como cuando ustedes
to
van
Mayapur,
a Mayapur,
you come with your form,
van a
your qualities,
sus cualidades,
your pastimes,
sus pasatiempos.
your associates. Well, maybe not your associates, but if you come together, you're coming with your associates.
Si vienen juntos, vienen con sus asociados.
See? So that's the point. And he makes another point.
Es el punto. Y él hace otro punto.
The holy name and the Supreme Lord are non-different.
No son diferentes.
When our anarthas are destroyed,
Los anatas son destruidos.
we will understand this fact.
Entenderemos este hecho.
when you start chanting without offense,
sin ofensas,
you will be convinced
vas a estar convencido
that all perfection
que
comes
la
from
perfección
chanting the holy
viene
name.
de cantar los santos nombres.
So he's saying, when all these anarthas are removed, basically you're on the stage of Baba,
En el estado de Baba,
preliminary love of God.
es un estado
Prabhupada
de
said, that then when you chant the name of Krishna,
cantas el nombre de Krishna,
you realize Krishna's in his name.
te das cuenta de que Krishna está en su nombre.
So until that stage, you
Entonces, hasta que nos
you'll get,
lleguemos a ese
gradually you'll get more glimpses of it.
vamos a tener
And in those pictures we saw,
y en esas
they weren't getting a glimpse yet. Not much of a glimpse because they fell asleep.
no están todavía teniendo esos destellos porque todavía se quedaron dormidos.
Like I said this morning,
Como dije esta mañana,
some of the devotees here were dozing.
algunos devotos aquí se estaban quedando dormidos.
And I said,
Y les dije,
did you ever fall asleep eating ice cream?
¿alguna vez han quedado dormidos comiendo helado?
To which everyone said,
Y a lo cual todos
Never.
dijeron que nunca.
and the reason is
Y la razón es
because it tastes good.
porque sabe
And
bien.
if something tastes good,
Cuando alguien sabe
it
bueno,
stimulates you.
te estimula.
Yes?
¿Sí?
So now you have this example. Thakur Haridas was chanting japa about 22 hours a day. He was chanting 64 rounds
24 horas,
3 times. 3 times 64.
3 veces 64.
So that takes most of the day.
Entonces eso ya te lleva.
Especially, and if you're tired that day, it could take you more than 24 hours.
Y si estás cansado, eso
And
ya
then you have to
te
start the
va
next
a
day.
llevar.
So there'd be very little time for anything else. And then you wonder, how could anybody do that?
Para algo más. Y
Because
después,
many devotees,
pueden hacer eso.
they have trouble with 16.
Cuando muchos devotos
And there's some relief when they finish their rounds.
y sienten alivio cuando
So then you think, oh, if I had to chant
piensas, si tengo
all day,
todo el día,
I don't know if I could do it.
no sé si lo puedo hacer.
So this is my realization.
Ese es su realización.
When a boy and a girl fall in love,
Cuando un hombre y una mujer
so-called
se
love,
enamoran,
they just want to be with one another
solo quieren estar uno
24/7.
las 24
Correct?
horas o 7
Isn't
días
it?
de la semana.
They just always want to be together. And they never get tired of being with one another.
Y nunca se hartan de estar juntos.
Right? So when if you realize Krishna's in his name, why would you want to stop chanting?
¿Por qué vas a querer
Because you're just with Krishna. You want to be with him all the time.
y quieres estar con él todo el tiempo?
Right? And if you realize Krishna is in his name,
Que Krishna
you wouldn't want to sleep because that time you're sleeping, if you're not dreaming about him, then you're not with him.
no vas a querer dormir porque si no
Right?
estás soñando con él vas a querer estar con él.
Is it because I'm with any relation, whether it's
Cualquier religión,
friends, brothers,
así sea hermanos,
it makes it sweet because there's a reciprocation.
lo
Yeah.
hace dulce porque hay una
Yeah.
reciprocidad. y
So
eso
on some
trae-
stage,
Entonces en
does
el
that
estado,
reciprocation get
Totally.
stronger?
esa reciprocidad se vuelve fuerte.
Krishna's always reciprocating. You just don't realize it. Just like the holy name is always sweet, but you may not be tasting it, but it doesn't mean it's not sweet. So it's always sweet. Krishna's always reciprocating. The sun's always out, you may sit inside. So it's like that. So when your senses become purified, then you appreciate the reciprocation. We're not meditating on a wall or a candle. Okay, everyone, meditate on the wall. Just stare at the wall. The wall can't reciprocate. There's no relationship with the wall. Okay, everyone, stare at a candle. Meditate on the candle. Calm your mind. But the candle, you don't have a relationship with the candle. But in bhakti, what you're meditating on, you have a relationship. And that object of your meditation reciprocates. But the object of your Buddhist meditation doesn't reciprocate. It's a void. It's a voidist meditation. So as Bhaktisiddhanta is saying, when the anarthas are removed, then you realize, at that point, you realize the name is Krishna. And you'll realize the deity is Krishna. And you realize the prasadam is Krishna. You have everything. You realize everything is Krishna. That'll be a happy day, right? You won't fall asleep when you chant them, and you'll want to chant more. That'll be natural. You'll want to chant more. So, if you actually realize that Krishna's in his name, you could sit down and chant all day because you would be with Krishna all day. And who else would you want to be with? Right? You could do it. You have service, but you could do it, and you wouldn't be bored. and you wouldn't fall asleep.
Vas a dormirte ni te vas a aburrir.
You'd be excited,
Vas a estar emocionado.
right? So we're in the conditioned state, so we have to, we just have to, in the conditioned stage, you go, your energy comes more from your determination than your taste. So that's what's, you're pushing yourself, pushing. You're trying to stay in sattva gun where your determination is strong. So you get up early, you're clean, you take bath, you're regulated. Keeps you in sattva gun. In sattva gun you have determination. If you fall into the mode of ignorance, you lose all determination. And then in the mode of ignorance, you just say, I don't feel like it. And then because you don't feel like it, you have no energy to counteract your feelings. And you just go with your feelings. That's the mode of ignorance.
Because it's like I related to surfing, like when you're first learning how to surf, it's not fun. It's not really fun. And afterwards, it's something really enjoyable. But it's like when you hear some of the prayers or letters of some of the saints, Bhakti, it seems like they constantly had to just maintain determination.
Well, it's true, but they're praying as a conditioned soul for us. But once you get to Ruchi, pretty much it's over. Your struggle is over. We could say another example. Like when I grew up, I didn't like spinach. I don't know why. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. Looked weird, and I don't think I even tasted it to know if I didn't like it. I don't like spinach. You know how kids do that? They've never tasted something. Yeah. So then when I became a devotee, did they make spinach with tomatoes and curd and eggplant, and ghee and spices? I liked it. So as a kid, my mother says, well, you have to eat this. And so I have to get my determination up to eat it. Because I don't like it because there's no taste. So as soon as there's a taste, then you really don't need determination. Like I joke, say, do you need determination to eat pizza and ice cream? We're serving pizza and ice cream, okay? I want to fire you up. I know it's going to be tough for you, but we have to be enthusiastic about this. No, you don't talk about that, right? Because naturally everyone likes pizza and ice cream. What do you give a lecture about to enthuse people? We need to get up early in the morning. We need to chant our rounds nicely. We need to control our eating, our sleep. That's what you give a lecture about. Now, in Nectar of Instruction, we have the verse Utsahan Nishtaya Dharyat. Utsahan means enthusiasm. So, you don't have to tell Timothy to be enthusiastic about surfing. If the waves are good, enthusiasm will be there. Automatically. Wow, look at those waves. Wow, look at my board. Where did he go? I don't know. 5 hours later, he comes in, The only reason he came in is he couldn't paddle out because he was so tired. Right? Otherwise, I wouldn't have come in. I was trying to get out. I was just exhausted. And he gets back on the beach and he collapses. He's so tired. Every ounce of energy he had, he utilized to surf those waves. He would, if he had a job, in construction, he wouldn't work that hard because he doesn't like doing it, right? Surfers and construction, they go together. And beer, I think, also. Right? Is it? The wave in Florida, they only really get good surf when there's storms, not like California. You actually have to have a storm. Otherwise, it's like like the waves are like this. So when, and they're always on top of it, the storms. And so when there's a storm and the waves are good, all the construction workers, all the construction stops because they're all surfers. And they'll work harder surfing than they do during construction. Because paddling out is it's a lot of exercise. Especially now on the smaller boards. The bigger boards, it's easier. because they cruise more. But the smaller boards, it's more energy. And when we were young and we used to surf, the only reason we normally would come in was either, number one, the waves weren't good anymore, or they weren't good when we went out, so we'd come in. But if they were good, it's just we were too tired, we couldn't paddle out anymore, or we're just starving. Other than that, we'd stay out. Right? So you don't have to give a lecture to these guys. Get out there and surf, everybody! Tear those waves apart, rip it up, dude! They do that on their own. If the waves are good, they do that on their own. If the waves aren't good, they just hang out on the beach and do whatever. Right? So if you use this example, you say, when you become advanced in Krishna consciousness, everything about Krishna becomes attractive. So like he could surf till he drops, you could chant till you drop, or serve till you drop, and do arti till you drop. This is a natural attraction. So all these verses and all these instructions and examples and stories about determination are for people who don't have ruchi, or people who haven't hit nishta yet, people who still are dealing with anarthas. Because the anarthas are what push you down, right? So when you're getting pushed down, someone has to say, fight, be determined. But at a certain point, it's just natural. Krishna consciousness becomes natural. Just like your material life is natural. Hey, let's go to the movies. I like that movie. I like chocolate ice cream. It's all natural. I like to go surfing. When he's not surfing, he's riding a skateboard. And waiting for the waves to get good. Right? Yeah? Bona fide Southern California. You're either surfing, skateboarding, playing guitar or drums. Right? Something like that. Yeah. I don't want to mention the other things you're doing, but those come in under the 4 regulative principles. So those instructions on enthusiasm are for everyone who hasn't achieved ruchi. But if we stay in the association of devotees and we see other devotees serving, then some spontaneity comes, even on a lower stage. Some enthusiasm naturally comes. Like we were enthusiastic this morning, and no one had to say, dance, or no prasadam. You just dance anyway. Right? So there's some spontaneity, even in sadhana. Even in Vaidhi sadhana, there's some spontaneity. But as we said in another class, it's not permanent. It comes. It's mercy. It comes, and you're getting a taste. And certain things you'll have more of a taste for in the beginning than other things, like preaching. When you preach, when you talk to people, it's very pleasing. It's very tasteful. Everybody likes it. I mean, unless you're an introvert and afraid of people. But if you're not, if you like people, you're not afraid to talk and you like talking, everybody likes preaching. You can preach for hours, isn't it? Time just flies. So there are some things we're naturally attracted to. And then, as I said, sometimes you get mercy, and then you get attraction. One day you'll chant japa and it'll really be sweet.
Something I was always curious about is why it seems new people who are just coming into what is chanting and everything, it seems they have more of a taste than...
So Timothy's asking, why do the new people have more of a taste than the old people? Because they're coming out of a very miserable environment. And number one, which makes Krishna consciousness relative to that seem very special. It's new, which makes it seem special. And Krishna's giving them mercy to give them a taste, to get them going. It's like, and the old devotees, they're chewing the gum that's been chewed, for a few days. The new people are chewing it fresh. So until the older devotees come to the stage of ruchi, it's kind of like the gum's losing its flavor, and they're kind of... You go into the temple? Nah, I don't know.
¿Vas a ir al templo? No, no.
Well, if you're a new person,